Hello, Taurus, and welcome to a Mercury retrograde tarot reading. There was a past situation, according to this reading here, where you dealt with what felt like trickery at the hands of enemy or even enemies. And it is in this season where you will begin to understand and create a new perspective about why this situation happened to you in the past. What is happening is that the reason for you integrating this cycle is because you may be faced with struggle in the future at the hands of these kind of people once more, or people who archetypally are similar to them. But the beautiful thing about this energy is that because of the struggles of the past, you actually will head face on against these kind of situations if they test you in the future. Now let me explain by looking at these cards. The most important aspect of this is that in this reading we have the two aces, the Ace of Swords in the reversal and the Ace of Pentacles in the upright. Now you see, when Arthur Edward Waite made this deck, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, he wrote The Pictorial Key to the Tarot, a book that he published in 1910. And in it he described that when you have two aces together, it is a reference, whether it's in the upright or two aces in the reversal. One of those means enemies and the other means trickery. Oftentimes people see aces and they believe that just because it's an ace, it must mean there's something new happening. But because aces are filled with such raw energy, it actually brings the ability to have illusion and have people who are trying to grab onto the truth or their version of the truth from every angle. In this case, you have one in the upright and one in the reversal, so the two of them together can be combined to understand that you dealt with enemies or an enemy in a way where they presented trickery to you. And in this reading, although it seems like you have been deeply transformed by a situation that is no longer, you are learning a new perspective about it. And I can see that in the card of the Death card, which is a card about transformation. A card which usually means that something has ended, but it is staring directly at the card of the World in the reversal. A card that usually means that something has ended as well, but in the reversal it means you may have another go at returning to a situation where you may find yourself dealing with the loss that the enemies brought the first time around. That is why the Five of Swords is the depiction of the enemy. In this Mercury retrograde, you may not have the enemies come up right now because it is about integrating a new perspective. But it does seem likely that after this particular phase, you may face them at some point in the future where they come to contact you again, but you see them from a position of the Fool card. Instead of battling fire with fire or fire with bitterness and grief and anger for what they are doing, you actually lead this next time coming from a position of your heart, from a position of seeing a new perspective, and from a position of truth and justice. It is such a mature and evolved thing. It also brings with it a willingness to see these people as human, and a willingness to understand that although with the Five there is loss, in the reversal there is return and maybe an ability to walk over a brand new bridge to find common ground with this person. So yes, when I say that there may be a return of these energies of trickery, it is through your strength that you level up this situation. That leads me to the last card that we have here, the Strength card. This is the card in history that shows the emblem of what is called the Cowardly Lion. It is the art of subduing the enemy. But it's a gracious subduing, which is why I mentioned that earlier in the card of the Five of Cups, you might have the ability to bridge a difficulty with these people or with this person. Essentially, your strength and the perspective that you're learning in this Mercury retrograde is going to allow you not only to lead from your heart, but to subdue these people so that they don't have the impact that they once had on you, which allows you and them to find some semblance of justice and common ground. I want to mention very quickly one more avenue here. One or two more things. Firstly, you have 2 5s in this concept. One of the 5s is in the upright and the other is in the reversal. When you have 2 5s, both of them in the upright position, they have a certain meaning. When you have both of them in the reversal, they have a different meaning. In one sense, it's vigils, moments of like sanctified celebration after a situation of sorrow, though, like a vigil after a person passes on, or after a battle, or after a loss. And in the other sense, the other 5 refers to things going in the reverse, taking a step back. So I do believe that these 2 5s are here because you will find a new perspective and a way to celebrate or find use in the past frustrations because of the growth that it gives you. You will start to see that the situation had to happen to make you the stronger of the individuals in this circumstance, building up a habit that you can take with you of strength and following with justice and following from your heart when you face things in the future. And I also wanted to double check as I laid down one more card here on the Ace of Swords. Because the Ace of Swords, when it's in the reversal, can speak of disaster. I wanted to know what that disaster was about. And it brought to me the Page of Pentacles card. And the Page of Pentacles, when it's in the reversal, has an energy that talks about games of dishonor. Destructive games that are played. And so it may be that the people that you dealt with, they deal with life sometimes miserably as if it's just a game. Sometimes it's called games of hazard. I truly do think that since you understand that this person or these people have a likelihood to play in a world where it's as if it's a game of hazard, that one of the things you are also learning to do as you learn your strength and your justice and to lead with your heart is to pick and choose your battles with this person wisely. Because they play like a game of hazard, I think you will again learn sometimes it's better not to fight fire with fire, but sometimes to catch bees with honey. That sometimes with the 2 of Cups energy, the best thing that you can do is to be the better person, the one leading from the position of your heart, leading from a position of truth in order to bridge the difficulties and soften people who play their life without realizing what some of the consequences are. In doing that, the Ace of Pentacles on its own represents that the universe will give you a great abundance for your efforts. A great abundance as if the universe has given you a gift from its hand itself. I also want to mention, if you have tolerated my son saying mum repetitively and me having to pause this video, what feels like 10 times, thank you for having patience with me. Because I will reap at some point abundance from my own family the way that you are in your situation. Perhaps my son will get some abundance as well, since he's asking for a rainbow marble that nobody knows where it is. Rest assured, my son is not in dire straits. He is simply looking for a marble that has lost its way somewhere under a couch. So, to end this reading off here, I want to speak about the reality that, again, this is the transition you're going through in this Mercury retrograde. What I do not see is the Devil card or the Tower card or the Heartbreak card. So I do think for you, this is a time of transition and growing into that individual rather than a circumstance where you face these kind of people again over the coming weeks. This seems, in my opinion, to be a time of you leveling up and softening and standing in your truth, knowing who you are and understanding more why it was that certain things had to happen the way that they did in the past. I want to say lastly, I think, before we go actually, that among these cards of ending and battles and trickery and enemies, the Justice card remains in the upright position. A balancing out and a fairness, I do believe, is coming. A sense of retribution, even in a positive, gentle way, may be found in the future that comes after this Mercury retrograde. A balancing of everything that was sitting in a power dynamic that once made you perhaps feel that sense of loss and grief or difficulty amongst these individuals or this person. And in that justice comes your strength that much more fully. It is a beautiful thing to see that Justice card in the upright position. And it does make me want to shuffle very quickly a little bit more of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck to get a little confirmation on that. And we have the 10 of Cups in the reversal. A card that means, when in the reversal, a repose of the false heart. Difficulties, sometimes even violence that had occurred in the past, suffering. And that tells us, since it's being paired with the Justice card, that justice will come to the future to repair the false heart, to repair any frustrations, to repair and justify situations that seemed violent or volatile. Whatever it was that put people into falseness will at some point be balanced for the truth. And that is a beautiful energy to get. Despite the difficulty of the 10 of Cups in the reversal, paired with the upright Justice card, it is balance and it is truth reigning in the end. I'm going to leave you off with that. Again, thank you for making it to the end of this video with me despite my son here. We've worked together while I do your reading. I appreciate any of you who work with me, since I am a mom on my own, running the house while also helping you guys. If you're interested in a private reading, my information is in the link below, the description, and any of my links in my bio. Or if you ever just want to chat, I'm over there on Facebook. I'm the only Linny D with green hair. Although, if you notice my hands are slightly blue, that's because today I dyed my hair blue, and I will shortly reveal that lovely look. Submitting a photo to the world of Facebook. I wish you guys well. Many blessings to you. Enjoy the rest of this Mercury retrograde as you grow and transition to become the person who leads in the end, and the person who always stems, at least in the future, to aim from the place of the highest. Take the high road, my dear. All right. Take care and bye for now.